Good evening and welcome to the Georgetown School Committee meeting of Thursday, August 30th, 2018. Before we begin the meeting, if we could just stand and say our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, welcome back. We're going to have a new school year. And I must say that this meeting came upon me very quickly.
Yes, it does.
I think I was resisting it more than the kids are. But I think it might be the weather that's doing that to me because it's been hot but nice. And I'm trying not to complain about it because I know what we're in for in a couple of weeks. Well, hopefully a couple of months.
Hopefully a couple of months.
So I'm very happy that we're here again, and thank you all for coming out tonight. I appreciate it. Before we go ahead with our business, I am going to make a motion to approve regular session minutes of July 24th, 2018, and acceptance of warrants 06 P19, 08 P19, 07 V19, and 09 V19.
So moved.
Second.
Anyone have any questions on that? All in favor?
Aye.
I loved looking at the thank you letters from our seniors. They were very gracious and they recognized the importance and just the prestige of the Baker Adams, and they were all very nice. So I thank Nancy for passing those along to all of us to see that, and I hope that they're off to a good start in their college careers. I know that they're all going to do well in whatever they choose to do. We have no student rep yet, but I'm sure we will the next meeting. Do you know if it's still Chloe? Martin?
You know, I don't know.
No?
So
Okay.
I'll talk to Dan about that
Okay.
because I don't know if it'll be Chloe again. We'll ask.
Okay.
Because she wasn't a senior, so
Right.
yeah, we'll have to check.
Hey, is there anyone here from the public that wants to talk about anything on the agenda this evening? Hey, tonight we have Lisa Ryer here to talk to us about the FBLA Leadership Conference Field Trip. Thank you, Lisa, for coming out.
Welcome.
So the FBLA, I had a lot of, I spent a lot of time looking into it and doing the whole DECA versus FBLA, and it looks interesting, and I'm very happy to see a business program remain, because I think the kids have proven to us that they love it, they're dedicated to it, so I appreciate that, that you went ahead and researched this, and I know that you're fully behind this change.
Yes,
Good.
I am.
Good. So tell me a little bit about this conference in terms of who will be going.
So they do conferences a little bit differently than what we've done in the past. They have a fall leadership conference. There are 3 different locations. The one that I selected is Chicago because I think we can get the most reasonable airfare there, and there'll be a lot of things for
It's so
students to
beautiful.
see.
That's such a great city.
Yeah. And there'll be workshops and an introduction to FBLA and what's it all about. I'm hoping that they're going to get to go to see businesses. That's something that they're trying to put in place. So it would be open to anybody that wants to go. I think I'd probably cap it at 30 students just for, just for management and staff chaperones that would be needed. I think preference would go to non-seniors so that they could get a taste of what it's like. Seniors have been through other programs and I think will be flexible, but that's my initial thought on it. It looks really good to me. I think we would miss 2 days of school.
2 days.
Yeah.
2 days, yeah. And this is the only overnight conference that takes place during the school year. Their nationals takes place, well, I hope, during the last week of June into July, which is after school is out, hopefully. Their states is a 1 day out of school, so not another overnight trip. And at this time, there are no districts because it's a smaller group of people in this state. In other states, it's quite large.
Now, let me ask you a question as I'm just thinking about this. So Disney is happening this year. Would you take that into consideration in terms of who would go? Like if it was a chorus, say it was a non-senior that's also going on the Disney trip, that's gonna be out of school for 2.5 days?
I hadn't
And-
thought of that, but I mean, if that's something that you would like me to do, we can try to work out how to do that.
Well, that's just a thought. I mean, that would,
Yeah.
I'm sure Principal Richards would, if he thinks that's an issue, then I'm sure he can talk to you about it. I was just thinking of it as I was,
Well, parents
listening
might
to
wonder
you.
about that.
Yeah,
but
the-
they wouldn't put their child's name in the hat if that were the case, I would think. If they were worried about that, because that is a week. I mean, when you
yeah,
think
no,
about it.
that is along this time, but,
But
just-
Disney is much, when is Disney?
oh, they lose 2.5 in April.
April, right, so this is November.
Yes,
How
it's
many
two
days
different
do they miss
seasons.
for Disney?
2.5, I think.
2.5 for that.
They leave on Wednesday, so,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah, like in the morning. I mean, I
half
think
day,
they-
half day
yeah,
on Wednesday. Yeah. That's just something to consider, Lisa. You see who you got. Do you have any? Have you brought this up to any of the kids? Do they know about this?
We have officers,
Yeah.
so I interviewed officers last year. I had sent a memo to you and Peter forwarded it to Dan, proposing that we start FBLA when I was asked to come back to lead a business program. And after that was all approved, and I wanted to do that in the spring so that we could have officers. So I have an officer team of 5 people. We met before school got out, and they're aware of this October leadership trip, and they're really excited about it. But beyond that, I haven't said anything.
Yeah, just in case it didn't. Yeah.
Right.
And they were pleased, I'm sure, that even though it's not DECA, that a business program was gonna be offered to them.
I think so, yeah.
Good.
Yeah. And I think, change is always difficult for everyone, and without hearing and knowing about it, I
Right.
think an automatic response may be resistance at first. But as I spoke to students who would come to me or even interview for officers, then they were like, oh, well, that sounds good. Oh, well, that's good. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
So,
Takes time.
my hope is that they'll keep open minds and listen for full information before they decide. We could have, 5 kids that want to go. I don't know.
Yeah, right.
But I think it's a great program. It's very comparable to what we've had before in terms of 200,000 plus high school students nationwide. It's a recognized career and technical student organization, set up in Virginia, eligible for Perkins funding, like the other, which our finance person isn't here today, but. So I think there are a lot of good qualities to this as well, and I appreciate your support in trying it this year and seeing.
How will you recruit? How will you let people know?
That was my question.
Yeah. Oh, good.
We'll have our bulletin board. We have the membership from last year's business club that we already sent an email to and sort of announcing that this is where we wanted to go. They have a club fair every year at the high school, so we'll have a table there. And I think word of mouth is really, really a good marketing tool at our school.
And morning announcements,
Indeed.
which we know everyone reads, right?
And listens to. Yes.
A little facetious there, but a lot of people do.
Yes.
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 Good, it does. Does anyone have any questions about it? I'd love to be kept up to date too, Lisa. I love hearing about the, this business program.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
That's great to hear.
Bless you. Yeah, I do. I think it's great, even though none of my children have participated in it. I've tried.
Aspiration.
I've tried. I know, but I love it. I think it's great. And again, I love seeing you back at the helm of it.
Yes.
I appreciate the teacher that took it over last year. I know she did a fantastic job. And just to keep it going, I think that was great. So
Yes.
again, I'm glad to have you back.
Thank you.
Does anybody have any other questions before I make a motion?
Nope.
Okay. Make a motion to approve the FBLA Leadership Conference Field Trip to Chicago, November 1st to 3rd, 2018, as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
It shouldn't be that cold either. I mean, again, the Windy City. I know. But it's such a great city.
It is a great city.
And just to let
They're
people
going
know.
there to learn.
It's great shopping.
FBLA stands for Future Business Leaders of America. So I know we all get caught up in the acronyms, but, you know, people who have never heard of it, Future Business Leaders of America.
Yes.
Thank you, Pam.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you, and I hope you have a good
Thank you.
first day of school.
Thank you. Sure we will.
Okay, I'm gonna just go to the school tours if we could.
Sure.
So Mike, do you wanna come on up? Just so we can talk about that, and then, the principals wanna come on up? We can talk about the schools.
And you wanna meet Maria as well, so come on. Maria can come too if she wants.
Mike, this is the only thing that you're here for, right?
Yep. And I'm going to talk about the basketball court.
Basketball courts. Oh, at
The
the,
community center.
Oh, well,
The
back.
youth
Yeah,
rec center.
oh, we can do that too.
Yeah, we can do that. Yeah.
You can do that with the Pearly.
maybe she can if she wants.
Sorry.
You down for that?
In my own zone.
Catching up on future business.
All right. I'm in the zone.
Hey, it's
Been a long week.
it's different seeing the different faces. Different doesn't mean bad though, it's great.
It's all good.
So we have had the pleasure of having Dan at one of our previous school committee meetings, but welcome again. I'm so excited for the new school year. I know I sent you an email telling you that. I was very pleased with the correspondence that you sent out, the letters, the welcoming letters to the kids. I really appreciate it. I heard great things from parents that also felt the warmness from the letters, so thank you for that. And Maria, I have not had an opportunity to meet you, but it's very nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Welcome to Georgetown, and I know it's gonna be a fantastic year, and I'm sure I'll be able to talk with you further, other than here at this open meeting.
Right, no, it's been a wonderful experience already. Very
Good, I'm
welcoming
glad.
community, and yeah, it's been great.
Good.
Dan's been very supportive, so
And Guy, I understand, has been very,
Kind of
welcoming
Instrumental.
and
Kind of their
Yes.
gentler guy.
yeah.
no, he's
helping you
been
acclimate.
fantastic.
Good,
Yeah,
that's
it's been
great.
great, so.
And Margaret, I'm sure, is being as helpful as possible too, which is great.
Anything I can ever do.
No, hope, and yeah, everyone's great.
Yeah,
Everyone's great.
that's good. It's great to see
Have a very good
everyone
team.
here. And again, I'm seeing Colin here and Jack, it's great. So thank you all for coming out tonight. Mike here, of course, because of the school tours that we took this evening. So it's always a tradition here to, right before school begins, for us to just take a walk through and make sure that the schools are looking great for the kids and for the staff. And I had the pleasure of going to the middle high school with Suzanne McDonald, who's not here, and Michael, and then Cheryl went to Pembroke, and thank you for going to Pearlie.
Sure.
So do we want to start off with Pearlie?
Sure, we can.
Okay.
Yeah, so Carol and I toured the beautiful Pearly School. It's a historic treasure in our town, for sure. It was looking very clean and well kept up. Let's see. So I had an opportunity to see the new secure vestibule and the kiosk and the sign-in window, and I think that's gonna work really well. You could see how the secretary there is gonna be able to see who's coming in easily. And the school library is being moved from where it was formerly located on the second floor down to the first floor. Now, the Pearly School is not going to open for yet another week, so, you know, while all the classrooms certainly looked clean and in order, the teachers haven't really, you know, put their personal stamps on it, and they don't have everything exactly where it's going to be on opening day yet. There were some things and items from the library that were still in the hall because those teachers haven't decided where they want things yet. And as Carol said, she's not a fan of moving things twice. You want to know where they want
it
them
where
to
it's
be
gonna
moved. So, let's see. I mean, I would say, so, it's looking really great. The carpet in the building, as we consider, and as the year goes forward, you know, we're gonna consider capital improvement projects. I mean, that carpet has been there for a long, long time, and it hasn't really
Yeah.
looked that, I haven't noticed it before, but this year I kind of just,
Yeah, you
it
see the
should be
wear
on the
and-
list
yeah.
soon.
It is
you
on
agree?
the master capital improvement list.
Yeah. And so Mike and his crew, they closed the gap, you know the railing that overlooks the gym?
Yes.
And it's got, like, there's a gap, but if you had
There's a
some
gap on
really
the bottom.
small things, they could.
It was probably like an 8-inch gap before.
Yeah.
The new code is 2 inches.
So what'd you put?
And we were
Some nice.
in compliance anyways because it was grandfathered, but we did fill it in just because.
Good.
Yeah, so like
There was a
if
concern by the preschool teachers and stuff.
something up there, somebody could
Yeah.
push it down,
Yeah.
it could fall on somebody in the audience and all that
Yeah,
stuff. And you replaced some of the hanging ceiling tiles that were stained.
yeah,
and
yeah. I think
Also,
we were-
those are looking good, although I'm
Yeah.
not a fan of hanging ceiling tiles, but the ones that are up there are looking good. Let's see. Carol had talked about, maybe giving a little warmth and more personality to the opening area,
foyer.
the foyer of the main administration building, and given that we've kind of done that for every other building at some point, just in terms of, maybe painting an accent wall or giving it a little more.
An accent.
Now, don't.
That's the
You
new
know how,
color.
Don't
You know, I
judge.
like accent walls.
you go in some rooms and they look like
My
no
living room.
one's given them any thought. And then you go in other rooms and you can tell that people have clearly care about this room and they've really
Right.
given it thought, like the vestibule, the foyer of the high school now looks. Exactly, thanks to Dan. So, anyway, I think that's it. Was there anything else that
No,
I
I
missed?
think, I think you hit it.
Yeah.
Did you go into the
Okay.
senior center?
Yep.
Yeah, how does that look?
Well, right now,
Well, I-
it's not cleared out, but the guys have been so busy, our priority's been getting the schools open. Once everybody's in, then they can go up and, start to get rid of some of the stuff that we don't need. We do have some computer stuff that's gonna get surplus, right, Mike?
Yeah, I think
It'll-
she thinks you meant rec center. You said, she said senior center.
Oh, senior center?
Yeah.
Which one do you
Right,
mean?
No, the senior center.
Oh, yeah, senior center
No, we
looks
didn't go into
wonderful.
the-
But, yeah, you
did.
didn't go
Oh, so
down.
you're talking,
It
right.
She's
looks
talking
like
rec center.
upstairs.
yeah,
I'm talking
yeah.
about the rec
library,
center,
yeah.
right, I'm talking,
Yeah.
so that'll be a priority once
Yeah.
we get the schools open.
We have one more week in Pearlie, so
Right.
we've
right.
really been focusing on security and the grounds because.
Oh,
I
the
mean,
grounds are
The grounds
beautiful.
are
I
like
forgot to.
killer
the
weed
mulch is
year.
there, the flowers, the signs
weeds
are
were on
painted,
seed
everything
green.
looks
The
fabulous.
weeds were on steroids this year, they
Yeah,
were.
so we're gonna give our all and give Pearlie a final push this next
Yeah,
week.
good.
Yes, yeah.
Is nobody without an access card, but the public is now all going to use the kiosk door, not
That's right.
the front door.
Yep, I did
Which is definitely an interesting. It's going to be definitely a different feel
Yeah.
walking into the building, coming in.
It will. It will. The problem, if we were talking about security, the problem with people coming in the front door is there's no way to steer them to where you need them to go. The possibility exists that when you get to the top of the stairs, you can go anywhere you want. And then you can go down to the
Upstairs.
preschool. There's, it just wasn't possible. And the doors that we would normally shut and lock to redirect people straight open the wrong way. So it's not possible to shut them and lock them. And we'll see how it goes, right? We'll see how it goes. But it will be a different, like, you can go out the front door. So let's say you come to meet with me, you can go out the front
Right.
door, if you
So
want
we're
to.
not supposed to use the front door either.
Well, if you have a fob, you can use the front door,
Oh.
right?
Yes,
I mean,
Yeah, if you have a
if you have a
fob,
fob,
yeah,
you can
the
use the
fob.
front door.
Yeah.
But for visitors, like, we spent a lot of time on security policy, studying them, Carol and I. And
Yeah. More than we
So
wanna know about
everything that
security.
they talk about is one point of entry.
One point of
Right.
entry.
So it wouldn't make sense for all the preschool parents to come in the front door.
Front door.
anyways. So,
And it's a really.
Many exits,
Yeah.
one entry.
Yeah,
And it's really
exactly.
now it's really a pretty secure place, because you come in and you're really trapped there, because the door, you can't get to the kids and you can't get to us unless you get buzzed in. So,
Well, and what about deliveries and things like that?
They're gonna
They
come in through the
can't-
kiosk door, yeah.
Yep.
So you're gonna have like a sign on that.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
yeah.
Okay.
But I did a blog today about it and just highlighted a few things people have to remember, like you have to have a picture ID. If you're coming to the central office, you go through the kiosk, so there's like 4 points, I think, is what I found.
And now that so I know you said picture ID, but it scans a license. Does it need to be a license, or what?
No,
what
it's not, a
sort
state
of?
ID.
It would take any kind of state ID.
Okay.
And actually,
Will it take a passport, Mike? No, it won't.
Yeah, 'cause it's
well,
a
we
small-
talked about that though, and you can manually.
You can manually enter,
Manually,
yeah.
That's right. We
Okay.
talked about that at that
We
safety
did take,
task
yep, we
force.
did.
You
you're
can
right.
manually enter someone's name, date of birth,
Yeah.
whatever.
Oh, okay.
So every time you come to the school, you need that ID to go through?
If you're going out of the office area, you need an ID.
Okay.
Because
Not,
that's
not
what,
when you drop off your child, right? When you
Right.
drop off your
Right, so
child,
if
you
you're
come
just-
in
No,
and you
no.
can, right.
If you're going beyond
But if
the
it's gonna
secretary.
mention that.
We were
Right.
just,
Talking
we were
about.
just talking about what, because once your license is scanned in, every time you come,
It
you-
does remember you.
it remembers you. So we want to be clear. So if I go in one time, now it's going to remember who I am. If I go back the next week to volunteer in the library and I don't have my license, can I just say Margaret Marr, and then they plug it and print out a badge?
Yeah.
Are we, so that's what I
because
think we,
it'll pop up the picture.
it'll pop up the
Like if
picture.
I,
right.
because I already scanned
Yeah.
you,
Right.
today as a, like a drill
A scan.
or whatever, if I typed your name in today, it would, your
It'll
ID
show
would
you.
pop,
And
So
is
I-
that in all the buildings?
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
all, it's all
yeah.
connected.
Yeah, it's all connected.
so I think that's, we just want to have clarification.
Clarify.
So once the parent shows their license, are we going to ask them to bring it every time, or are they okay if they've already been scanned in?
I think that's something we have to discuss.
Right, so.
Because the
um,
last I understood, they were gonna
Every
do it
time.
every time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it will annoy people if some have to and others don't, you know, so.
Yeah, I
don't
think,
know. I'm o-
To make people in the
I-
habit, we should say it.
Just every
What I
time.
care most about is that they've got an ID on
Right.
them, that we
Right.
know they've been scanned.
People are supposed to legally have an ID on them, on their person
Right. I mean,
at all
on-
times.
On the other hand, if
I mean, I think
somebody
we,
wanted to come in and they knew somebody else's name, and they knew that person had.
No, but the picture
Picture's the
shows up.
picture.
The pic, yeah,
The picture on the visitor.
it's a picture of your
Somebody
license.
gonna, like, really check the picture to the person?
Well,
It flashes on your screen, so if I
Yeah.
typed in Mike Anderson, my photo comes right up to the secretary or whoever's doing the check on the,
So the secretary's gonna check, it's not
gonna
like
see a
just,
picture
it
of the
doesn't just
person.
print out,
Yeah.
and then I put it on me,
No,
and
the
then I go,
secretary has
and
to
it
No, no,
could be
it's a
not
big
me.
screen and it has a
Right.
big picture and,
That's their
Does their
that's
name
our
and everything.
expectation.
Okay.
I think we should talk, I think we should try, ask everybody initially,
it,
and then
yeah.
I think we should
yeah,
discuss
see
that.
how it
Okay.
goes.
Yeah.
To see, because
I
I also
would
wanna see what the impact
consider
is to
that
the
a little
secretaries
further.
as well.
Right.
In terms of time, if it's burdensome to them and, it really doesn't make a difference in that, maybe we'll make an adjustment, but for right now, I just wanted to have everybody know, bring a picture ID with you, because we're starting the system next week. Okay, Cheryl?
And then, I'm sorry, just one more thing, with the parking around Pearlie, we're gonna have to have some communication in September about, Pearlie parents not taking up the senior spots for
Was that an
the
issue?
senior center.
It's an issue for 10 minutes, 10 or 15 minutes. But we're working with Colleen, and Margaret and Amanda, and, we have less preschoolers this year, so it may be less of an issue. We're talking about, looking out back to see if there's a place to put a few more parking spaces, and maybe some of the people from the central office who sort of come to work and stay at work, if they could park out there, then that's fewer slots that get taken in the parking lot. So I understand how parents would feel, they come, there's not any space in the parking lot, so they see there's 2 or 3 cars in the senior center, why couldn't they just park there for a few minutes? Colleen's been really nice about not starting any of her programs till 9:30. So technically, if we have tell the parents, look, if you have to park, there's overflow parking, you have to be on the far side, right? So that seniors that may have walkers or, may have mobility issues or whatever, have the spaces closest to the senior center. And you have to be out of those spaces by 9:00. And we
Right.
talked about the school resource officer sort of being around, and maybe for the first couple weeks, they could, they could help remind that and Mike is gonna get a bigger sign that just says senior, reserved for senior citizens. But the other thing, Margaret, I wanted to ask, and we were talking about it today, and I haven't had a chance to see Amanda, or I would ask her as well. I'm wondering if we could at least revisit, how the parents used to drop off? I'm wondering if we could go back to that, because if we did that, then we wouldn't have as many people parking. And you
They've
have-
never dropped off.
Well,
They
actually,
drive-
Well, they would line
wait,
up.
no, they lined up in their little circle, and then the aides were out there, and they took the kids out of the car.
No, you parked in that circle.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
Well,
so-
okay, I don't care. Maybe
I
we
definitely
parked.
think- I don't know if they were
There was
parked.
definitely a
There was a
curbside
line
service.
of cars, because I know I had trouble
Drop
actually
off?
parking
Yes, yes.
in the parking lot, because there was, I mean,
Right, but it was like you could make a circle and leave your car parked there
Right,
and take
right,
your kid
yeah.
in. It
Because-
wasn't,
Oh, that's
You
not what I
couldn't-
remember.
well, you
I
Oh, when,
remember,
I
I
think,
remember,
she's thinking when, like Mrs. Chick and Mrs.
Yeah.
White were there and they would literally,
Take
people would
them
come
out
out
of the
and
car.
get the kids and bring them in.
if you wanted to bring your own kid in, you parked. But But there was, I know, because it was
Karen Young.
Karen Young. Karen
Used to
Young was
be
the one
there.
I remember
Yeah.
And
doing
she would
it.
bring the kids in
Thinking
and out.
further back than.
I got a
And
history here.
But you know, but she was there letting out the K and 1, but I don't think it was for pre-K. The K and 1 would drive and Karen Young would be there. Because
I
I'm
think
not
we
sure.
should just revisit it
Right.
again as an idea.
I don't know how that would work though, because if I'm the teacher or even the aide, so I'm a classroom teacher, I'm gonna stay in the classroom. But in the aide, if I go out to get the child from one car and then I bring them in, now I've got other people waiting for me to go to their car.
Well, there were always two people out. And so there was, one that would help the kids out and the other one would be by the door and they would lead kids in when they had a little group of them. I just want
Yeah,
to
we can
revisit it
definitely-
just because
yeah.
it would alleviate a
Definitely
lot.
talk about it, right.
Yeah.
Because I know at the preschool now, kids get dismissed from different doors.
Right,
So some of the
Yes.
parents have to
Right.
go around the back,
yep,
pick up their
Yeah, I think we have
child.
to just
That's
talk
right,
about
yeah.
that whole situation.
yeah. Well, and the other thing, do you remember in the old days, we would put up sawhorses to keep people from driving into
Into
the
the park,
Pearly
yeah,
parking lot?
yeah.
So I'm wondering if, for the
Have to-
seniors.
yeah. I think we
Yeah.
just have to figure it out, because, I do think that we did agree, to reserve those spaces, and there are people who come now, since the center's open at 8, they come and they have coffee, and they hang around and play cards, and the things they do. I don't want, them to feel like they can't come to their center, before, 9 o'clock.
9:30.
Yeah.
9:30.
No, I agree, and that was,
And that was
part
the
of
agreement. It was
so-
part of the agreement.
Back when my kids went to preschool, we had to park all the way over
know,
at the
that's what-
library
Yeah,
and
we were
walk
talking
them.
about that this morning.
Rain, snow, sleet,
Yeah.
you
Wow.
know what I mean? So it's a lot different, it's a lot easier, I don't know
Yeah,
what they would have
Well,
done
so
back then,
the
but.
teachers are parking around
Out
the
back,
out back.
the teachers and the aides, all the staff.
All the staff.
And I think that's what we have to emphasize, it, not just the teachers, all the staff that can fit out there should be out back. Because the purpose of that is just, they're stationary. We don't want people, where the kids are out on the playground, we don't want, cars going back and forth. So once they're there, they're there. So we'll figure that out, but, that's a tricky spot.
Okay, so how did Pembroke look?
Pembroke continues to be the showcase. I could smell the fresh paint in all the classrooms.
Yeah, Rick Sear painted every classroom.
Hot off the
Wow.
press, yeah. Everything looked squeaky clean, as it always does when I'm in the building, even when kids are there. One of the things that Margaret mentioned about the upper grade playground was that part of the squishy stuff was ripped, I guess, or torn, and
A tree branch fell and
oh,
poked a hole in
made a
it.
hole. So I didn't actually see it up close, but Mike got the new material and made a leaf to go with the theme
Cut out of a red maple
and
leaf.
to make
Yeah,
it
you're just showing off.
fit in, and very clever.
So Mike Clancy, who works for the maintenance department,
neat.
so cool.
made that and
Mike's very clever.
put it in the playground.
That's a great thing.
Yeah, that looks good.
What else did we?
Beautiful color.
We saw the maker space is moved up to the 3rd floor, and that's still in the process of getting unpacked
Okay.
and organized.
You're in the process of finding a permanent space for the makerspace.
Well, that's
We were
what I'm
talking
saying,
about
when
that.
do we have to move it?
Because there's another, that
Oh,
bubble's going through.
That's right, that needs to go.
So
So we were saying that there will be 2 years in this classroom, because next year there will only be 4 fifth grades. But then after that, we'll need a permanent home. So it does give us 2 years to really
Think about it.
look around and figure it out. There are not any open spaces. Every spot is being used. So,
Which is a good thing.
yeah, which it's is a good wonderful, thing, but it just is good means at
that
least
we
have
will
one.
be
displacing somebody.
But when you have
Yeah.
5 of each grade, it's gonna be tight.
Right.
That's why we have to figure that
Right.
out.
So on Tuesday, when Mary Ann comes in, we'll all get up,
Yep,
send a
and
couple
help her
guys
out.
up there and help her, because there's a lot of stuff to set up.
Is there?
We have
Oh,
to
the
decide where the
makerspaces.
Lego wall's going, and
Yeah.
everything came down from the old one.
Well, and I think it was hard too because of Pembroke Adventure Camp and Camp Invention and summer school.
Yeah.
There was a lot going on up until,
The school was used like right up till 2 weeks
Right.
ago.
right, so that makes it hard for the staff to do that. Margaret and I were fiddling with the new lock. I forget what it's called.
Oh, the Mortise lock?
Yes, and we weren't sure because, so it looks like you turn it. How does it actually work? Because I don't know if you.
Where were you guys in there?
So we were in the kindergarten room, and we were, Cheryl was pretending to be the intruder, I was inside. But so when the door is locked, you can't get in.
Yeah.
But then we couldn't tell the difference when I was turning the mortise
Oh, okay.
lock. Cheryl still couldn't get in.
Yeah, so,
But and I was
Wait,
trying to
but
look at
can
where
you-
that.
So Cheryl was pretending to be the intruder outside.
So she
I
couldn't
was-
get in, that's a good thing.
But she
Yeah.
couldn't get in when it was locked, but then I turned the mortise thing, and
Yeah.
she still couldn't get in.
yeah, well,
Well, where were you? Were you
In the-
inside?
Yes, and I was,
But we were looking.
But you
for
could
that.
get out, could you not?
I could always get out.
Yeah, that's
And that's the
the,
design, though.
that's
Yeah,
the
that's the
goal of
design,
it,
yeah.
that's the goal
How
of
is
it.
the mortise more protection is our.
well,
is
because
our
it's
question.
encased in the door, so it's
Encased in the door, and then you can get out.
protected, yeah, but you
Right, so
get out
then
if you need.
if you want
She
her to
can't
come
get in,
in,
but
then
you
can
can't,
open
you
it.
could get out if you
get
needed
it.
to turn the knob and get out. It would automatically unlock
But
everything.
you still can, even without the mortise, though.
Yeah, you can still get out, or
But it's the
not
same
get in.
as
Enforces
if
the
a
door.
deadbolt on
Yeah.
your front door.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a much stronger lock, but
Yeah.
you can't kick
Yeah.
through
Yeah.
it, essentially.
So I guess we couldn't see.
I guess we didn't.
the
Yeah.
deadbolt part.
Okay.
I guess I was
We'll have
expecting
to give
another
the teachers a
piece,
little,
Yeah.
like up
tutorial.
higher that would shoot in, but that didn't
Right.
happen.
So we're like,
anyway.
yeah, nobody can get
Trust
in.
us, it's the door.
Yes, yeah, no, I couldn't get in, so
good.
it's all good. The grounds look
Oh, the
great.
grounds
Yeah.
were,
I saw yesterday when I went for my pickup number, they were busy
Way
going
back, yeah.
around.
Yeah.
they really did a great job. Those grounds were, that's a lot of land. All of those fields, and then the areas right around the school, and then you also have to worry about the high grass and what's a low area. They deserve a great deal of credit for that. That was a job.
Yeah, they worked really hard.
In the island, like right outside the front door, the bunch of trees,
Oh, yeah.
a lot came down
Yeah.
in the storms last
Oh,
year. And
okay.
I haven't
I'm
looked, I
just
haven't
trying
seen
to
it.
think of where you were, yeah, okay.
Have we cleaned that up? Are we
can't.
cleaning that up?
Well, we
Is that-
talked, we'd like to, but
Talk to the
it's
conservation.
wetland. In the middle, there's a
There's
little
wetland.
swamp. So we're not allowed to touch it.
You're
Even
not
the
there.
down trees, we're not
We
really allowed.
had Steve, the conservation agent,
Come
come.
on.
He
Yeah.
said, those are homes for little critters.
Right,
Okay.
right.
No, it looks like a tornado hit it.
Kind of,
Yeah.
yeah.
We had a guy who was willing to come in and take all of that away.
As long as we gave him the
We talked-
lumber, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But we
Yeah.
said we better talk to Steve, and sure enough, it was like, you're not taking anything out of there.
I remember that conversation. They have to stay.
It looks like a
for the
microburst
critters.
went through that.
Oh, it does, yeah.
And I also, I want to thank you, Mike, those are beautiful planters
Oh,
that you
yeah.
put in all the schools.
Margaret was
Yeah.
feeling a little left out that she didn't have big planters
And
with
then-
mums in them at every
So
other
we
school
added
they
two
did.
to
And then all of a sudden, there they were, these
Yeah.
beautiful
Here.
planters,
Yeah.
so. And
Yeah, that
Pearlie,
was
that
good.
looks beautiful
That was good,
in the
thank
high
you.
school, so thank
I
you.
told we had a little celebration luncheon for the custodians and maintenance guys the other day, and I said, usually, because this is the 4th year, right, Margaret, that we're in the school. Usually, after a couple of years, you start to see the little bit of the wear and tear. I said to them, that school looks as good now as the day we opened it. You guys have done such a great job, and the kids have been extremely respectful of the building. But it's really pretty impressive that it
Well,
looks just like it did the day we opened it.
I was surprised at all the painting that was done because I'm thinking back to the old Pembroke, and maybe we got paint every 10 years, maybe. But,
Well, paint goes a long way.
right.
It goes
and-
a long way.
They use flat paint when I was explaining this earlier to Mike, they use flat paint when they painted the rooms, so when you wash it, it really shows like a streak. So we wanted to paint them all with a semi-gloss so that it's easier for the custodians to keep clean.
I did notice they were shiny.
Yeah.
We did notice that,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So all the classrooms that, we didn't go in every single classroom, but the ones we did were all set up and ready to go any minute for the kids to come in.
Good. So the middle high school, Michael, Suzanne, and I went there. We met Dan over there and also Mike. Looks great. We love as soon as you walk in, there's the big home of the Royals with the Lancer in there. I think that looks fabulous.
Awesome.
I think the kids are gonna love it. I love how Dan wants to really get the school spirit, with these kids, and I think that's a great way to enter into a school and just see that. The place looks great. The upgrades, the security upgrades look good. Mike did give us an example, as you know, Michael gave his ID. It's pretty interesting
So
thing though,
that
like
picture
how
is
it
now going
takes
to be
it.
there everywhere.
No, but it's interesting how it takes the ID.
Yeah, stick
Um,
it right in.
You know, I know I totally feel more comfortable
Yeah.
sending my kids off to school with it. The work with that new wall looks fabulous.
Looks like the wall was always
Yeah,
there, doesn't
really,
it?
It really looks great. I do think that Dan needs to get a big fish tank though in that room, so because I feel like I'm going to a dentist office when I see that big
That
glass.
window?
Yeah, the window.
Oh, the
But a
window,
fish
the
tank is a
window
good
in the
idea,
office.
too. You know, the kids come in, it definitely,
Soothes
if they
them.
have to go to
Unless
see
they-
you, it soothes them before they have to see you. I also love the fact that the principals are, the administrators are all down on that one floor, but as Dan mentioned to us too, they'll have satellite offices. So they're all on the first floor, their offices, but they also, if they need to be upstairs on the third floor, that office that was always Heidi's office,
Right.
that's available, so if they need to do any business up there, then they just, you know, go up and do it, but, I love that, I think that's great, but I think having the three of you primarily together
Together.
is good.
Yeah.
The cafeteria looked great.
Did you see the sign, did you see the mural that the
we
kids
saw-
painted,
yeah,
the food
very
for
nice.
thought?
Yeah, that was nice, and we also saw the artwork that was hung.
Mhm.
It looks really good. We talked a little bit about the coffee shop and how we can try and market that, get it out there, and have it utilized more.
Those are the big ones. Look great.
Yeah, it did. It really looked good. They replaced carpet in a couple of rooms that looked really good.
Did you see
Walls are all
the
shiny.
floor in the foreign language room?
I showed them that.
Yeah, 'cause that
the-
was
well, it's a
a
math room,
mess.
yeah.
The
The one that got
bathroom
flooded, yeah.
issue, yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
then
you'd never know.
I think the
Yeah.
next projects we've been talking about are just those floor tiles in the stairwells.
yeah,
Stair treads,
And,
yeah.
you know, I was talking to Jared about it one day, and he said that they literally just pull out.
Oh, yeah.
And Mike said they already have a little bit of inventory, so,
Yeah.
you know, maybe each vacation or something, they can do
Plug
a
away
couple.
at
'Cause I
it.
think there's, what, 4 or 5 of them, right, Mike?
Yeah, there's 5 sets of stairs.
Yeah, so I think that in the renovation, obviously, some of those things were done, but,
Yeah.
you know, it's those little things. I mean,
Mm.
you remember not that long ago, we had a lot bigger physical plant issues at the middle high school than we have now. It's really
No, it
cosmetic
it
stuff
does-
now,
it's
really.
good. We saw the SRO's
Our
office,
buildings
which
are-
was
Oh, yeah,
nice.
yeah.
Yeah, it looked fabulous. I think the kids are gonna be happy to go back. I do like the fact also that, the principal was talking about wrapping the lockers.
Yeah, we talked about that,
I
yeah.
think that's great. You know, school spirit, it's funny how when you talk to kids about like colleges, going off to college, one of the first questions that I've been hearing like my kids and their friends say is, I want to go to a school that has a lot of spirit, like that goes to the, you know, has sports and this is just fantastic to have that, you know, you walk in and you just have that pride. I know I felt that way when I would walk into Marblehead. I don't know why Marblehead always stuck in my head, but their gymnasium,
It's
just
a beautiful school.
but it was just always so like you could feel the spirit that they had, you know.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that. I think that's something that the kids really want to have too.
Absolutely, yeah, no, and in colleges, you know, they'll say, let's go, and
Yeah.
they'll say, ready to win, and they'll say, you know, they'll be there to cheer, it's just, it is this.
Well, we have a great
And
blue
it's not-
crew.
I
I'm sure
mean-
you've heard of them.
Right,
The cheering,
Just,
the cheering
you know,
section.
We
Yeah.
do. We have. I mean,
for all
so-
different sports, and, you
Sure.
know, all different
Yeah.
events, and I know we've had a lot of school spirit weeks and all kinds of things, but I think, you know, to put some logos and some sayings and slogans to it, and maybe, you know, more, I know we have t-shirts, but more t-shirts. I love t-shirts. I believe in t-shirts.
Yeah.
You know, something to help the kids feel real pride in their school and really look forward to and really love going to their school.
Right.
Yeah.
There's a, you know, when you walk the hallways of the school, you can definitely tell a culture of the school. And that's what I want to create is when you walk the hallways of the middle high school, you can feel it, you can see it. When you drive up, you can tell that it's been taken care of, the landscaping. And it it goes right down to the smallest detail of Mike and his crew painting the lines of our parking spaces. Nothing is left untouched, and they did that this year.
We
It's
gotta
a-
get a pocket for Guy.
No, yeah, so,
The big cat does not have his designated spot.
Yeah. So it's, I love it when people drive up to the school. It's a beautiful setting to begin with the field and the school's up on a hill, to tell its story as people pull up. And that's my goal, is as you walk in, it tells a story. Is it just white walls?
Right, exactly. A thoughtful story.
Absolutely. Who we are.
A really good point while we were walking around. One of the things that we talk about a lot is the students going off to a private school and, being able to showcase, come here.
Yeah,
And I think
absolutely.
that's a huge step in that direction.
Yeah, that's great, yeah, it did, it looked awesome, very good.
So did you have any questions about any of the other security things that we listed in here? Because Mike was prepared to talk about any of those,
I
that.
mean, I don't have any because I'm on that safety task force,
That's
so I
right,
think I've
that's right.
gotten, but if anyone else has any specifics about it.
I feel really good about everything that's been done. I feel like we're light years ahead of a lot of
Yeah,
other
that's, well,
districts.
Suzanne was saying that. Suzanne said in Andover, not to put Andover down by any means, but I'm sure it's on, but she was just like, wow, it's great. So it does make me feel good. I think the collaboration that we have with the police department and the fire department, we always talk about that, how
Absolutely.
great our relationship is, and I think that certainly has helped
Mhm.
make this happen.
And as I said to the crew that we saw last night, I said, I'm very grateful to the town because, they appropriated, almost $100,000 to help us make these improvements.
Mhm.
And I think we definitely are delivering on everything we promised that we would do. I mean, everybody at that setting last night was very impressed with the things that have been done and, were very appreciative.
That was a great presentation.
And then
It was
we
very
did put it
informative.
on Facebook if anybody wanted to see it. And then I did a blog about it today, and I included the slides that we use because there's a lot of text on them about exactly what we did at each school. So I just posted those right up there. So, we'll move forward.
Good.
Now, is the task force still going to continue?
Yeah, we'll continue for a little while. I mean, we have some tasks that we haven't quite completed yet, but. Mhm.
Great.
All right. So before the principals start, I just wanted to just report on the buses. Maybe
Okay.
you'd be interested in the
Sure.
buses. Everybody's always interested in the buses.
A lot of people.
Um, So, we did it a little different process this year, right? We did it online in terms of registration. And then the bus company actually, I asked them to sort of see if they could create routes that were somewhat even, that were in neighborhoods, as opposed to a bus going like all the way across town. And so they worked on that this summer, so this is a little scary to me, but again, I don't know how many people got passes that don't intend to use them. But the red bus has 74. The orange bus has 71. The yellow bus has 78. The green bus has 72. And the blue bus has 76.
Yikes.
Those are pretty full buses. I think we'll watch it for the first couple of weeks. Obviously, there have been people who are still registering. Although I will say that our plan was by doing it online, people would let us know sooner, and that definitely helped. Barry mailed the bus passes out, a week ago or something, and people are still coming to the central office to pick up their bus passes, but that's after Barry has authorized that there's a spot on the bus for them. It was a little bit of a challenge with the courtesy bus because now we're getting a lot of seats, and so people have gotten bus passes, that needed them. But I don't know if there's gonna be other people who are gonna come out of the woodwork and say, I need a bus pass.
Yeah, I think a few people have questions about the courtesy bus and how that works.
Well, the courtesy bus, remember, we did because we had open spaces on our buses. I mean, these are pretty tight counts. They've never been this big.
what's
There's
the
always
actual
been like one or
capacity?
two, 77.
Is it 77?
capacity.
Okay, that's
So there's a few spots, but,
except for number 3.
and again, maybe, we'll have 10, 15 seats where
Right.
people won't show up. First, you need 3 weeks to really see that because the first couple weeks people tend to bring their kids to school or whatever, but But, you know, that's the update on the buses. We have had fewer angry phone calls, so I'm really hoping that, you know, the way it's being done this year, that people, you know, understand. And that's basically, you know, the bus situation, so I will keep you posted on that, but the
Okay.
numbers are high.
Yes,
And I
they
know
are.
some parents have called the bus company because when the routes came out, their stop wasn't on the route.
That's because they didn't register.
Okay.
And some people say, well, I didn't know I was supposed to. One lady said, I don't do email, you know, so we worked with everybody, you know, everybody's, you know, in good shape. But, you know, the first year you do anything, you know, and if it's a change, you're gonna miss some people. But next year it'll be clear to people, you know, when we send that out, you know, you gotta fill it out.
Right. Okay, let's quickly, though, talk about the basketball court project
Oh, yes.
while we have Michael up here. So, sounds like a great idea to me.
But we have a lot of support for it. So we had, you know, the chief, Donnie Cudmore checked it out. We asked Pete Lucido to come by because GAA, you know, he's the basketball guy for GAA. I had the Kelly Coy and her whole family came actually, and Shannon Dow because they are very involved in the Camp Coy tournament and a lot of the basketball things. Mike and I had the light department come out to Dave, the general manager, and one of his
His full,
Mike,
his
I
name
think
is Mike.
Mike.
I'm not sure of his last
Yeah.
name,
he they came out.
Peter
we-
Durkee.
Peter Durkee came out. We had Steve, our electrician, was involved in the
Yeah.
discussion, and you know, Mike's doing a little draft plan, but we laid out two basketball courts. It is a wetlands, so we have to be careful about that. So right now, we're basically gonna have to probably hire Jim Luker to just come over and, because Steve from Conservation was concerned that we were in the buffer. We tried to remind him that there used to be a playground in the buffer, so it's not like there was nothing ever there. But he has rules that he has to follow, and we're okay with that. We're gonna try to get the
Seems like we'll have to
expertise.
file a notice of intent.
Yeah, yeah.
So Jim Luca was the environmental engineer who did Pembroke.
Pembroke, yeah.
And so I actually spoke to him tonight, and he's gonna put together a proposal for us, and he's gonna reach out to Steve to find out exactly what he's looking for.
Yeah. So that's really the only sort of hang up at this point, because Peter Durkee and his guys will actually come in, they will take out the trees, they will, you know, bring in fill, level and grade the land. That's a donation that he's gonna do, and then the light department will pay for all the lights and the fixtures, right?
Light poles, like the
They've already
bases.
committed to that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And they would do a few lights in the parking lot as well,
yeah.
yeah.
Our electrician
Our
will do
elec-
the work.
mhm.
School electrician.
And then we're working with Colleen, right? So, she would like a bocce court and a, shuffleboard. So we would, when we get the, we got the, was it for the tar, Mike, with the proposal for the,
Yeah,
or the,
yeah,
what
for
is
the
it?
hot top, yeah.
What is it though that we got? We got an
We got a quote for the
quote,
hot
a
top,
quote.
yeah.
We got a quote. Thank you, Mike.
That's
We
about
got a
$10,000,
quote
yeah.
for about $10,000, but we could also do the shuffleboard
Do the shuffleboard,
at the
yeah.
same time.
Yeah.
So we would just make it a nice area out there that, you know, the community could use, but the seniors, you know, would
And our
have
guys
something.
would paint the lines on the basketball court.
Right, we decided we would paint the court part, so it wouldn't be black. It would be, let's say blue, probably would be blue. And then, our guys can paint the lines. So it's a $20,000 project altogether. Joe Bonavita came over and saw it, and he's very interested in supporting us and seeing if they have some money that they could put into it. You know, GAA, you know, if everybody has a little bit of money, we could do the
Yeah.
project pretty easily.
Oh, that's
And
great.
remember, we're not doing labor, yeah, that's what it would cost us, the labor and, you know. But Peter will come in and he'll grade the land and he'll put the
Right, right.
first layer of hot top, you know, his ground hot top that he gets. And then we'd have to have it, of course, professionally done for the top coat. So, but we'll get a little plan together, but, you know, really your policy says that if there's anything that actually changes
Changes
the
that- yeah,
school
sure.
grounds, you have to approve it.
Yeah. Okay, I'll make a motion to,
Let me, before you go there, what about the budgetary impact of it? So I think approving the physical
Vision of
plant
it.
change is one thing. The financing of it is a separate, if it's, are we
like if
approving?
it goes forward, I
Right.
mean? So we're approving
Where's-
right now for the plan to go ahead, but you're questioning the finality of it? Like if
Correct.
we then,
I'm
The
sorry, I didn't
financial,
understand.
I know you said if everyone helps a little,
Yeah, to get it-
it's not an expensive project,
constructed.
but I also know that not all the departments have money available, and I guess are we approving the financing of it at the same time as, where would the money be coming from our end, is what I'm asking.
From our end, I'm not sure, because what we've done so far is we've identified, it may be paid for completely by other sources.
Okay.
Because we're really donating the in-kind costs,
Manpower.
right? So, again, that's what we have to figure out, like, we know we need $20,000, we're talking to all these groups,
Mhm.
right? And to see if there's anybody who's, people say to me all the time, well, tell me what you need, tell me what you need. So that's what, I don't know that we need to cough up any money at this point. We may, just because we wanna have some skin in the game, but it certainly isn't gonna be the majority of the money, is how I'm seeing it, based on the conversations that we've had with people. I thought you were asking, Michael, going down the road, what would be our impact, other than maintaining them like we do all of our fields and facilities? And
It'd probably just be the cost of the paint.
I was gonna say
Paint
that, I feel like
lines,
that's a
it'll be
pretty
minimal.
nominal.
Yeah.
There's the cost of the lights, like
Oh,
the
running
lights
them.
getting on.
Right, so that's a
well, that's,
discussion.
oh, right.
Well, that is a
So it wouldn't
discussion,
be
we
like the
probably, they
utilities,
put a meter on.
Right.
So the question is, if people are using the lights like they do at the high school, we charge the same.
But that sort of, to me, it feels like if we're using it as a community resource, does that mean it's not designed for the pickup game at 8 o'clock at night? Or does it have to be sort of a rented, reserved court so that the lights can be on? So if I want to,
I don't know, Michael, I don't know, I guess that's a conversation we should have, we probably don't have the answer tonight.
just
Because
because I know the
do,
football lights wound up costing more to run them than we had originally
I think
anticipated.
part of that was because there wasn't people weren't shutting them off, and if they canceled a practice, they didn't cancel the lights, right? So the lights were running and there was nobody on the field. So that's something we have to talk about that a little bit more. That's a good point. We'll get to the bottom of that.
These lights will be a lot less than, these are just gonna be LEDs.
LED.
Right.
Parking lot lights, similar to the
Like
public school.
Yeah,
4 of
and,
them
so
instead
if
of-
we don't have to charge people and they can be on at a certain, I think, the chief wants to make sure that, there's a limit to them as well. Like, I have to figure out who are neighbors around, because I would wanna go over and talk to the neighbors and I don't know quite how high the lights will go, I don't know what the impact would be. But I feel like I should talk to the neighbors, cause like, I'm thinking Terry Pilardi must be, somewhere near that, and, we don't
That'd be
wanna
butters, for sure.
impose or intrude, and we wanna be good neighbors. But yeah, I don't quite know the answer to that yet, but it is a good point. I do want the kids to be able to go and play pickup at night, but you have to be careful, because it is off the beaten path. The chief doesn't want, people over
Sure.
there,
Hanging out
yeah, so we don't want the lights on too late.
Right, and this is all sort of pending the conservation.
Yes,
Yes, yeah.
absolutely,
Whatever
yes.
needs to be done
Yeah.
for
Yeah,
that.
we just, we don't wanna go forward with a project and then have you all not support it, or you have questions or concerns about it. So we wanted to talk about it. It really, right now, is still in the idea phase. We've got some specifics, we've got some commitments from people. But, it's, if you could support it, then I feel like we'd feel better going forward with it and keeping you
Yeah.
informed.
I support it fully.
Oh, yeah,
What do you guys
totally.
think? Yeah.
Me too.
And I'm sure anytime we have
Oh,
questions on it, or
absolutely.
you'll provide updates as it goes
Believe
forward.
me, we won't go forward.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, there won't be a basketball court and you didn't know about it.
Right. Okay, so I'll make a motion to approve the construction of an outdoor basketball court in the back of Pearlie School.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so we'll go back. Thank you, Mike. I appreciate
Good
that.
with me?
Yep, for
Thank
now.
you very much.
Mike, we have to really thank you very, very much. I mean,
Okay.
really, I know you're humble and you don't
Yes.
expect that, but you
appreciate it.
deserve an
Guys all
awful
work
lot
very
of,
hard.
Yes.
Thanks,
an
Mike.
awful lot of
Great
credit.
job. Everything looks great. Please pass that along to your entire crew. Thanks.
Bye, Mike.
Okay, so back
So
to,
now we just hear from the principals.
yes.
So I do want to start by thanking publicly Mike Anderson for the phenomenal work. Again, as Carol said last night, there is not one part of any of our jobs that Mike is not involved in. He can do it all.
Yeah.
So a big thank you. And also always Eric Stevenson as our head custodian. He's phenomenal. Just 24/7, 365 days a year, seems like. But the minute school gets out, he goes into high gear and doesn't stop. Also, Jacob Hamlin, David Collins, and Cooper Anderson helped out this summer. And at Pearlie, Tim Regan is kind of the one-man show. He does an awesome job.
Yeah.
And then outside, Brett Moyer and Mike Clancy, again, do phenomenal work. They just are nonstop. Every morning I drive in, they're doing something. Mike did have a
I can't help it. One day, Mike Clancy got on his little cart or whatever it is, his little machine, and I had said I wanted the hill kind of cleaned up. I wanted the high grass,
In
but
front-
I wanted
in front of
I
where
just
I
wanted a
parked.
little strip in front. And he had the machine all the way up on the hill, and like Margaret's like seeing him through the window. He's like teetering on the side of the hill. So he comes over and says to me, Margaret, shut the operation down.
Because you were afraid.
She wanted
Well-
it to be wild looking at it.
I'm like, oh my, what is going on?
It's like a
there's
bad
no work
haircut,
done,
right?
please
It's a
tell me.
bad haircut.
So I can't help it. It was funny. I said, okay, I'll go see
I pulled
Margaret.
in, it's like, Mike, what's going on?
She shut it down. She told Mike, get off the machine, get off the mountain.
When he told me that he had to borrow the lawnmower to do it, I'm like, then it's not natural, it shouldn't be done.
Right, I agree with you.
So I went over and we walked the whole grounds, and everybody was in agreement, what's gonna get cut, what's not gonna get cut.
But,
That's funny.
because the real kicker was, I had just gone in, I said to Diane, like, what the heck is he? And all of a sudden, we see him with his head down, like, all right, he's gonna try to go up, and he's gonna kill himself with it. So no, stop. We need to like, rethink the whole operation.
It looks beautiful.
I'm sure it does, I'm sure it does.
But again, it just shows like
Oh, I
their
can't help it. That was so
determination and just, they're awesome. And Mike Clancy is the one, he did cut the leaf into the playground, so they're phenomenal.
Very talented.
So
We couldn't do it
creative.
without him. And then, of course, Diane Collins, who, she's there throughout the summer, and often it's Diane and me, and we just have a great time.
Yeah.
And Janine Diane, and of course Hope, who's, in and out through the summer, and she's a workhorse. And Elizabeth Carroll, who was running the summer camp, and is just very busy summer.
The
So-
camp was full, right?
So the Pembroke camp had, I've got my notes here. They had, I just want to, so she had about 40 children for each 2-week session throughout the summer. And they do the field trips on Thursday, and it's great success. But starting with Camp Invention, the week school got out, and that was full at 125. Heidi Began does a phenomenal job, and Jill Valley is assistant director, great. And then with Pearlie Pals and the Sprouts program, there were about 70 children participating, and so just the school was a beehive pretty much throughout the summer, and that's awesome. And so Pearlie starts the year with 3 full-day sessions and 1 half-day with about 88 students. Again, we always get into that, how the configuration works, but it's about 88 students. Preschool teacher Sarah Headley has moved on. Ashley Bollier, who was one of the paras, actually we hired her as the extended day director at Pearlie, so we're glad that she's able to stay in that position. And then Jolene St. Pierre, who was the LPN at Pembroke, will now be an instructional para in Pearlie and will be our on-call nurse. Because we know that there are children who do have medical needs, and then, so Nurse Hatch will be there in the morning, and then for that brief period in the afternoon for a couple hours, Jolene St. Pierre will be there. you know, if something happens on the playground, will be that on-call LPN. And then, so at Pembroke, we start with 716 students. So as Cheryl and I were talking, last year might have been a dip, but we're right back pretty full this year. Elizabeth Skina and Meg Guillaume are going to be on full-time maternity leave. And so we are happy to welcome Lizzie Conroy and, as I say, Carrie McNulty, but it's like we never really say goodbye to her.
Yeah,
We're
she's been
happy
our
that she's
permanent
always had a
substitute.
position. Exactly, so that's nice. And then Caitlin Stam will be out until the end of October, and Kevin Vaccaro will be the sub.
So let me just ask you about the recess monitor position.
At Pembroke?
Yeah.
So at Pembroke, I did hire Denise Mamelette
Uh-huh.
as recess.
Okay.
So
Lisa Forrester left.
Lisa
And so I did hire Denise.
Okay, so is that along with the aides and also now the teachers? That it's
So
gonna
I
be out
think
there?
like Sylvia George.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
this
Yeah,
woman
the
is
teachers
just
are gonna be out there too.
replacing,
Exactly.
like, not Sylvia George, but somebody in her position.
It's a
right?
3-hour day, so she'll come, it's from 10:30 to 1:30. So she comes and then we'll do the lunch and recess.
Okay. Okay, so that position has always
Is
been
in
there,
there.
it's just that
Yes.
someone left.
Lisa
left.
Forrester had it, but then just for reasons couldn't
Yep,
do
sure.
it this year,
Yep.
so.
Okay.
And then,
Do
we
you have
have.
a lot of interest in that position? Because I know it's like 3 hours a day.
It was posted, and there were actually five applications through School Spring.
Yep.
I did get a couple emails, but Denise had been with us in the Pembroke Extended Day,
Mhm.
and she also filled in for Mary Ann Botman in the spring as kind of a long-term sub.
Mhm.
And so, you know, we went with what we know.
Yep.
And she'll be awesome. And as you know, Tyler Polston
Yep.
has moved to Florida, and we've hired Brian Fanning, who is great, young, enthusiastic. He has taught in New Hampshire, so this isn't his first gig, but very excited to be with us.
Good.
And then special education teachers Lauren DiPaolo and Molly Burr have moved on, and we're very happy. Yuko Ryder will be our Sprouts teacher. And then Haley Flint was hired as our special ed K-2. And just very recently, 2 days ago, Kristen Havey resigned her position.
That's open.
Who worked in grade 6 special ed. So that is posted and we'll hire. But Carol has talked with the superintendent, and she'll stay until mid-September.
Kristen?
Yes.
Kristen will stay on until we can hire and have a transition.
Sometimes
So-
when it's that late, you know, superintendents are reasonable about that. They understand they wouldn't want it to happen to them, so, she's gonna stay till September 14th.
Okay.
We'll start there on the 17th.
And then Mary Beth Doherty is coming from the high school.
Great.
Nurse, and we'll welcome her to Pembroke, and very happy to work with Mary Beth's wonderful. And then we had 2 instructional para positions open up, and I've hired Rachel Barrows and Erica Giuliano, who actually had been at Pembroke, student taught in 5th grade, and then moved on, but she's back. She had a baby and doesn't want to teach right now, just kind of wants to spend more time. So we're happy about that. And then through the year, we're again focusing this year on our new science curriculum, STEM Scopes, and the Project Lead the Way, to really kind of dig in deeper with that and continue with our writing goal. But our focus this year, our focus really all around will be that social emotional development. We're going to start the year on Tuesday with a speaker to really kick that off. And then we have a new social emotional curriculum, Second Step, and that will be our training on Tuesday. And we're also going to be implementing peer mediation. I think we discussed that in the spring, so we're moving forward with that. So the focus really is how we can support students, not only in their academic, but we know it's that basic care and security that you need to take care of first before children can learn. So we're going to really focus on that this year.
Great.
And we're looking forward to a great year.
It is. It's gonna be a great year.
Exciting.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Do you know where kindergarten wound up in terms of numbers?
I do. So there are 110 students, so about
22.
22 in each class. I can go through. Grade 1 has 106 students. Grade 2 has 92. Grade 3, 105. Grade 4, 90. Grade 5, 121. That's a large group. And then grade 6, 94.
Nothing tops that. The kids who just graduated though.
Yeah.
That's right, last year.
How many
11 sets of twins.
110.
110. And how many first?
First,
106.
106.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you
so
for
you
that.
have, we have one less teacher in grades 6 and 4, right?
Yes.
So 4 teachers in those grades.
And not really a Margaret question, but how many, it relates, because it's mostly, we assumed mostly at the kindergarten level, how many of the teachers took advantage of the bringing the students to Georgetown?
You know?
4. I was gonna say
4.
3, but I think it is 4.
Well, wait a minute.
Well-
It's 3, 4, and there's twins.
Right, there's 4 students, but 3
So 4
families.
students,
Right,
okay.
yeah.
Okay,
So we have 1 new first grader and 3 kindergartners.
okay.
3K and 1.
And no one.
One
One grade we
first
really
grader.
didn't have space.
Right.
Good. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Margaret.
So at the high school, we are all set to go.
Good.
We are fully hired, and we're ready for our students. A few people to thank before I forget at the end. Of course, Mike Anderson and his crew. I continue to be impressed every day with what that crew does, from pulling the weeds, painting the lines, putting in doors, walls, fobs. As I left, they were taking sponges to the wall to remove all scuff marks on the lower level. And I just shook my head, amazing. So I hope that folks at home can get a good indication of how dedicated these folks are, and to the level that they get on their knees and scrub out a scuff mark. So it's amazing. Each day I'm impressed. I've got to thank my head custodian, Ernie, who's been absolutely flexible. We're calling him on the intercom every other minute, it seems like, and he is there with a smile. Today, Colin did a great training with all the secretaries on how to navigate through Google Docs so that their skills are greater to open up the school, because we're converting to Google Docs much more. He did a great job, and Carol popped in for a quick lesson as well. So I need to thank Colin for that. He did a wonderful job, and he was very patient.
Thanks, Colin.
Taking from the basic level and working up and wherever it leads. He was flexible, and I learned a few tricks as well. My AP's fantastic. To the point where she's dressed in the school colors tonight. Absolutely amazing. I always say
You have an
that.
allowance, a clothing allowance? The school store.
Confession, I haven't done laundry. And this was that I had left.
Oh, you're supposed to roll with it.
Oh, sorry.
Well, I will interrupt you to tell you, you do have a teacher who does dress in royal
I know,
blue
I've
every
heard.
day.
Oh,
Really?
really?
I've heard.
Great.
I have not met her yet. but
Yeah.
I've heard.
Debbie DeFrucio. Shout out.
Does she really?
She wears something different, but she said, you know, I want a uniform. It's changed her life. And on Patriots Day, she'll wear like Patriot sports
Yes.
things, but her daily, she's got
It
a
says
royal
some like
blue.
black pants or
pants
something.
or, you know, but,
And I heard
Align
her
your
students
wardrobe
dress like
to
that
yeah,
too.
Yeah.
she's really starting a fad.
You're into the orange and the cranberry.
No pressure, but we'll be watching.
Yes. So I think I'm school shopping this week.
But Dan is
Kind of blue.
Planned. Yes. I do need to thank Jack, because he worked extremely hard in making sure we got highly qualified folks in our last couple of positions to fill. He worked
This morning, right, Jack? Up to this
right up
morning.
to this morning, and his level of is high as far as folks we hire, and I really do appreciate his thoroughness, his patience, right down to the wire. He wasn't satisfied with candidates and put it back out there, so I really do appreciate holding the gate tight on high-quality teachers. So a
Thank
big
you, Jack.
thank you to Jack for that. The list goes on, and I know I'm forgetting folks, but absolutely.
Caitlin Kennedy, shout out. I've got to say, worked all summer with, Jack with summer camp, so thank you.
And I apologize if I forgot someone, but it's been endless, and it's been wonderful, and it's made a wonderful transition for me. So I can't thank the entire Georgetown crew, to the police department who have been over to see how I'm doing, which is fantastic. It's amazing. That was not a wellness call either. That they came over to check to see if I needed anything. So I just want to make sure I'm clear. So programs will be rolling out in partnership with Margaret School in the district, the social emotional learning. We'll certainly take an inventory on what we do. This is not something new. We do a lot of this. We just need to identify and then expand upon what we do. And that will be a big focus for us this year. Also, my first faculty meeting will be talking about risk-taking, about taking risk in the class to break out of your comfort zone, to feed into innovation and creativity, and to also spread that to the students as well. So the teachers will hear that from me on the first day. So those are two things that we're going to focus on, not overloading them, identifying what we do, and expanding on what we do, so that fatigue of yet another initiative, I remember well when I was a teacher. So new teachers in the art department, social studies, MAPS program for the middle school, paras. We have a new new nurse who's transferring over from the Pearly, so they're ready to go. The physical plant you saw tonight, which looks amazing. The lobby is probably going to be the most noticeable for everyone when they come in, and seeing that lobby area with the mural, which I'm really proud of Mike, part of that. And I'm going to tell a quick story about Mike, because I'm so impressed with this guy. I had the idea, and I shared it with him in passing. He went home that night, went on his computer and drew, played around with a sketch, and came in first thing in the morning and shared it with me. What do you think? Blown away. It expressed exactly what I was looking for, and he knew a guy who knew a guy, which is amazing. And yeah, and,
Yeah.
Cafe,
Yep.
same guy.
and there it was, and here it is for the first day, and he put a rush on it as well. So I really cannot say enough about Mike, and I'm sure everyone at this table echoes that. So have a vision, share it with Mike, and it definitely comes to fruition.
Like, Mike has an idea.
Exactly, because it will materialize. So.
It will materialize,
Yeah.
guaranteed.
Communication is something that we focused on over the summer, and that I heard from the community and from the teachers and students about increasing communication. The principal's blog is up and running. Happy to hear it. That's will be my main form of communication. I'm happy to hear that there's, as of today, over 1,700 hits on the site, and it's only been up for about 2.5 weeks. So video we have up there, so I'll continue to feed into that. It's always interesting what works for a community, and I think I have found a niche with them, and I'm getting great feedback on that. Walkie-talkies, we have approximately 18, 19, Mike can tell you exactly how many walkie-talkies that we'll be distributing to keep people around the building. We will be setting a protocol on how to use the walkie-talkies, so that always remember when a walkie-talkie goes up, there are 5 people listening, and we'll go through that protocol. And that will increase communication throughout the entire school. So I would add that to the security piece as well.
So on cell phones.
Correct.
So,
Right.
so you just, it's actually saving us quite a bit of money.
Yeah,
Yes.
sure.
Phone budget.
Yeah. So we'll be going to walkie-talkies. We created, back to communication, a Google Master Calendar for the school, which it's never had. and it will be on the principal's blog that you can click it on and see what's happening as far as events. So it's at your fingertips. So going to our audience with their request. Sports schedule will be pushed out on a weekly basis. Ryan is going to be pushing that out, and I also have created a page for him on the principal's blog where you can click on athletics, and it goes right to his district scheduling calendar that all the districts use. So that will be accessible. So communication was big for us. The physical plant, they're on their hands and knees, wiping scuff marks, unbelievable. Safety as far as cyber safety, Connect 2.0, which is connecting all the exterior doors electronically, so we know when a door is ajar, we get a text or an email, so we know that it's open. Build-in motion detectors have been upgraded, connected. Some were disconnected, they're now connected and up and running. Video cameras throughout the school. I'm going to take a guess, and I think there's 58 around there. They're all fine-tuned, focused, and ready to go as well. Georgetown Police Department, we have their monitoring. They can tap into our cameras. Another step in the right direction. We have an app through Google, which is called Gaggle, which will monitor the cyber noise, if you want, exchange of information going out to make sure that our kids are safe. If there's a red flag, if someone mentions something that's a red flag, we will get a text message from that.
Take a quick step back to the video cameras in the police department. I had seen a couple of questions on, like, are the police watching our kids in school? Is the idea that it's going to be not 24/7, but 24/7 in school world monitored, or the idea is that there's a
just
screen
on.
that should something happen, they can flip
Right.
and see what's going on right away?
Right, same thing we can do. Right, if something happens and we need to go back, but the real value for us with the police department having the cameras is after school hours. You know, like in parking lots and that kind of thing. you
But the
know.
idea is there's not somebody sitting
Oh,
in front of the
there's
screen
not- no,
watching
no,
58
no.
cameras and.
No, I can see where people would be a little worried about that, but no, that's not it at all. It's just another added layer, you know, so that if an investigation had been done or something like that, you know, everybody can see it.
I'm glad you asked that question, because I'm sure that would be interpreted differently.
Differently,
but
yeah.
If we need their assistance, they have the capability of tapping into them. It's more that courtesy.
And that's actually not new.
No,
you know.
I know.
Yeah, we've had that at Pembroke.
But it was when, well, yeah, but it was when.
When it was in the paper or
It was
something.
when it was in the
Yeah,
paper
I saw
of,
it,
you know,
yeah.
new
Yeah.
server installed with the police department, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, fair enough.
Thank you, sorry.
No problem. That's a great question for clarity. FlySense is a device that Mike did some research on for us. FlySense, and you can Google it, is a device that goes into the bathrooms. And I want to make sure that I'm clear on this as well. This does not have a camera. It does not record
Right.
students. It's a sensing device. And what it can sense is if a student is vaping in the bathrooms, it will send the administration a text message or an email message to notify us which bathroom has sensed vaping. And in addition to that, it also is a sensing device for noise. Again, it does not record, but if there is a loud noise in the bathroom, a bullying, a fight or something, we will get a message on that as well, and we'll get that as soon as that happens. So it's a new technology. If you go online and if you Google it, you'll definitely see a couple of videos. There's a great Good Morning America video about the device. I'll
We
be
showed
showing
that
all the
last night, yeah.
students about that. So that will be going into the bathrooms as well. And again, I've made contact and connections with the Sandy Hook Promise that was started last year.
Yeah.
And they are very busy. I think they're,
They did not anticipate how many people want to get on board with this.
I think
And they've got a little group.
Yeah.
They've got a little group, 25 people probably.
We're lucky to get in when
Yeah.
we did. When I was talking to the gentleman from the project, they're simply overwhelmed. And I don't know what they're doing on their end, but they're holding up to the promises that they made before it went really viral and people are just jumping on board. So as of now, they're going to be coming out September 17th and October 1st for training. And training consists of students, faculty, central office folks, police department, dispatcher at the police department, because they're in partnership with this.
You're welcome to come if you'd like to.
So we believe those are our dates, and we're still firming up that training. But it will be 2 full days of intense training on their behalf for anonymous tips is what it is from students. So we have done a lot as far as security, physically and behind the scenes. Maybe that's a good point to pause.
I would just
in case
add
anyone
the
has more
AED,
questions.
the AEDs. So Ryan thinks we're gonna need 4.
What about the thing that you sent over?
Well, so they clarified it without actually
Clarifying it, yeah, that's right. But Ryan thinks that we're gonna need 4. And one of the ones we want is, we wanna mount one on the shed. That's because that turf field, no, well, yes, Barbie, but also on the field by the
Okay.
turf field. Because that field is used so much, you know, and you just can't, I mean, I know everybody worries about vandalism, but you can't hide them away in some place that's locked and then nobody has the key.
Right, nobody
You
can
know,
use it.
so, you know, we've got a number of them. And then, but we'll have Ryan come, you know, when we need to, and we'll talk about with the Budget and Finance Subcommittee. But that's what, the last conversation I had with Ryan was, it was probably gonna be 4. Do you have anything you wanna add, Marina? Since you've been
Just-
sitting there
Dan just
so
asked me.
patiently.
It's just been a wonderful experience. I know I've been in education now for 21 years, an administrator, this is my 14th year, and I've never had such warm, welcoming, supportive
Oh, that's good.
people in the summer when there's really not a lot of people around, so it's been great. And people have popped in, so I know I'm in a good place, and I appreciate the
Oh, that's
opportunity.
good.
So thank you.
We're very happy to have
Yeah,
you.
we're glad to have you.
Yeah, we're very lucky. Yeah.
Worked out great.
Good.
I just have a question about the class sizes, do you know, of the grades?
By grade, I don't have that information, but I do know they range from around 94 to 111. And I'm glad you asked that because I wanted to point out that this summer we've had, as of now, and it may go up tomorrow, 12 returning students that have gone to Georgetown in various grades, 11th grade, 9th grade. So I'm proud to say that we have a flow of students coming back. It'll probably land over a dozen.
That's wonderful. I was aware of quite a few. I wasn't aware
Yes.
of that many, but that's great. I was very proud to hear that.
Yes.
And
Absolutely.
the people that I've reached out to that have their children coming back, I was pleased to hear the reasons why.
Yes.
You know, that the grass isn't always green. Right? And, you know, and.
And we offer a really good product here.
Yeah, and that's was the sentiment that I got from a few of them that I actually was able to talk to. So that's great. I'm glad.
Good to hear.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you,
Great.
Margaret. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
thank
you.
you. I'm looking forward to it.
I have a quick question for Margaret.
Okay, yeah.
I
She
just
thought she
want,
was done.
I just wanted to clarify the peanut nut policy at your
Yes.
school, because I know it's different for kindergarten and other grades.
Yes.
So could you just,
So kindergarten is thoroughly nut-free, nut and peanut-free. So, you know, children may not bring them for snack. The kitchen is peanut and nut-free and does not serve any products with nut. In grades 1 through 6, if a child has an allergy in a classroom, that classroom is asked not to bring any peanut or nut products. If you don't have anyone in your class, you may bring products. And then in our cafeteria, we have peanut and nut-free tables so that any child, and they always ask friends, you know, that have school lunch, to sit with them. So you just definitely want to clarify that. Kitchen is always nut, peanut-free. Kindergarten is always nut and peanut-free. Classrooms with any allergies are peanut, nut-free. And then otherwise, there are tables in the cafeteria that are always, not free. Thank you. You're welcome.
I just thought of the NEASC report is actually back in the district. So we're reading it now, so we'll make
Good.
sure that you get a copy. Dan and I have just had a brief conversation about it, but I didn't see anything that really worried me. I am not anticipating any warning status. Some of the things that were suggested, I agree 100% with. So I was very pleased with the report overall.
Good.
You
So-
always get commendations and you always get recommendations, but the recommendations were not anything that I didn't feel was already in our plan for the high school, so.
So once you've gone through that,
Yeah.
we can then schedule it to,
Yep, definitely. I
Present
don't
it.
know when we have to release it to the public, though.
I don't know.
I don't know.
but
We
can
should get-
find out. So to dig a little deeper, just in the report, I met with the chair of the committee, and we discussed it as well into further detail to get clarity. So I took it a step further than rather just reading it, and he was quite pleased.
Yeah.
Patrick Lochner was very
Yeah,
pleased.
I mean, Patrick asked me I told you when we were here, like, why are you on warning? Because obviously we have done a lot. So, yeah, it's a good question. Why were we on warning?
That's great.
Yeah,
Good.
yeah. So you'll be getting a copy of that.
okay. Great.
Thank you, guys. Thank
Thank
you, Maria,
you.
for being here.
Thank you.
We were out last night too, because every one of the administrators came to this event last night, which warms my heart, because they weren't required to do it.
And it shows you on to the,
Does,
to the
yeah.
public, which is
Yeah.
great.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
See ya. Thank you, Colin.
Okay,
Okay.
we have, line item transfers.
Yes,
Suzanne's
Suzanne isn't
not
here, but she said if there were any questions that I couldn't answer, she would just get right back to everybody on it. She said it's basically just staff transfers. There was really nothing.
The first one's in the air, easy.
Okay, so I'll make a motion, line item transfers from 1 to 67, in the total amount of $380,271.
So moved.
Second. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you. We have some donations we have to talk about, which is always nice. We got a very generous anonymous donation of $2,000 for the purchase of new field hockey uniforms, which is extremely generous, and I want to thank that person very much for thinking of us in
Hockey team,
yeah, that's great. I don't know when the last time the field hockey team got new
I don't know
uniforms. I
either.
know soccer did last year, but yeah, I mean, obviously they're in need of it. But that's very nice. I'm sure the field hockey team is thrilled. It's always nice to put on a uniform that hasn't been worn by. But that's very nice. So thank you.
Field hockey kilt I wore was 30 years old when we played, but
I'm
all
sure.
right.
I know it's tough. They're expensive, so
They are.
I want to thank that family for that. So I'll make a motion to accept the very generous donation of $2,000 from an anonymous donor, which will be used towards the Georgetown Field Hockey program with gratitude.
So,
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Very nice. We have another anonymous donation for the school lunch program, so these keep coming in, which again, is very kind of this group of people that are thinking of our kids that are in need, so that was a nice donation to the state. I'll make a motion to receive the anonymous donation in the amount of $25.50, which will be used by the Food Services Department.
so
Second?
Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Very nice. Is that it?
Yeah, I just want to clarify the staffing, just to make sure. So the special ed sixth grade is open. The BCBA is filled as
Oh,
of
at the
today.
bottom, yep.
And the one that is not on here is the cook manager at the middle high school. That is open.
Manager at the high school. Is open.
Everything else is
Okay.
filled.
Okay, that's good.
Yes, very happy about
Good.
that.
The BCBA was hired today?
Today.
Good. Okay, that's nice. Okay, I think we're good, unless anybody has anything on the, to talk about that's on the agenda that we didn't talk about? No. Okay. I will make a motion to adjourn, at 8:12 PM. We do need an executive session, so we will not be returning to, open meeting. So I'll make a motion to adjourn, and go into executive session, chapter 38, section 21, for the purpose of, employee litigation.
Yeah, strategy with respect to litigation.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye?
Aye.
Great. Thank you. Good night.
Have a nice first day.